Hey lovely sexy hobby people, welcome to today's video, which is going to be the flick through for Airfix Model World Issue 172. They've got the Shannon class lifeboat build in this, as well as the old 7 class one that the model that they released a few years ago. I think somewhere around about 2016, maybe a bit earlier. So come and join me on the desk and we'll have a look through. Hey lovelies, welcome to this video for Airfix Model World Issue 172. There's 2 articles in this for the Airfix lifeboats that they make in 172 scale, plus an article for a Westland Wasp in 172 scale, which is really good. Right, but first of all, so we've got the Shannon class and we've got the 7 class, and then we've also got this Wasp model kit in 172 scale, which is really great. I haven't seen a Wasp in 172 scale. Airfix used to do a Scout. I don't know if they still do it. Well, I don't know if they still got the moulds because I haven't seen it for a while. But yeah, hopefully the Scout will get released at some point because that's another kit I want to pick up for myself. Now, we then have a new tool from Revell for a 172 Lockheed Martin F-35A2. Lightning II rather, F-35A Lightning II. I can't see if there's a price given for this. £29.99 from Revell stockists. New tool, 172 scale. Key 43 Hayabusa from Armour Hobby. That's €21.36 direct from Armour Hobby. Some upcoming kits. It looks like we've got P51 and a Curtis H75, A1 and A2. A Lafayette tool to acquire the Mets, as well as Mohawk Mark IV. So, sorry, that's wrong. H75 if you're a keen World War II fighters, World War II scale, Armour Hobby will be making your day with all new Curtis H75 P51D and Messerschmitt 262 kits. Renowned for its levels of detail and moulding finesse in this scale, the firm is purely at the digital rendering stage for the ME262A 1A, but is expected to hit the shelves after this summer. Available sooner is the Curtis H75A 1A2 Hawk France 1939-40, scheduled for February, which will come with decals for 3 French airframes. So the Lafayette is one of the decal options. Single radio H75 and Mohawk Mark IV kits will follow, as will a new tool P51D Mustang in spring with P51K and F6D boxings. Aftermarket decal specialist and distributor retailer Fantasy Print Shop has been put up for sale by owner Ray Horwell, who will be retiring later this year. Fantasy Print Shop is well known for its range of screen printed decals, but also prints for several UK based decal firms and distributes brands such as Eurodecals, Wolfpack, Matterhorn Circle, and products from many European firms. Okay, anybody interested in buying themselves an existing business? Just be aware that there's probably 2 sets of books. One set where they show the taxman and then another set that they're going to show you to try and prove that it's a really profit-making business. So just bear that in mind. Right, Fine Molds A670 takes a new approach. This is 1/48 scale tooling. Can't see a price. £34.99 from tigerhobbies.co.uk. Hypersonic's new 148 NF 104A conversion. So the F104 was the Starfighter, I think it was called F104 Starfighter, the long cylindrical body with stubby wings. And that is, can't see a price, £48.55 from hypersonicmodels.com. A7D Corsair upgrades by ResKit. We have an M60L Black Hawk US Special Forces helicopter in 1/48 scale from ICM. £53.80. Some display models. It's a nice 1/48 scale Airfix Lynx helicopter, and then the figures, the 1/48 scale figures that they released. So they've released some of the 1/48 scale kits again. Basically, I think they were branded under the Op Herrick banner. And it's nice to see that some of those kits have been re-released this year, or they're going to be re-released this year. A couple of Soviet vehicles there. A BTR 80 and Gaz Tiger. Right, Magic Mike, Diamondbacks. Right, Richard Spreckley builds a Magic Factory's much anticipated new 1/48 scale McDonnell Douglas A4M Skyhawk kit. £59.99 from Tiger Hobbies. That's, again, I know I keep saying it, but I do like the low visibility grey is what I call it, colour on airframes. Looks like you've got moulded vinyl rubber type tyres to go on, which is cool. I think a Skyhawk was like one of the first models. It was an Airfix kit. I think it was like one of the first models I ever built with one of my brothers as a kid. Nicely done. Liking the livery, the Diamondbacks livery on that. And a really solid payload there. For a small aircraft, that's a really big payload. Right, combat cab. Now, this, when I first saw this, I thought it was more of a World War I vehicle, but Mike Shuttleworth goes on patrol with Thunder Models Long Range Desert Group F30 truck. And it's the Canadian military pattern Ford F30 LRDG Long Range Desert Group. By Thunder Models, it's 135 scale, it's £39.95, and you can get it from albionhobbies.com. So that'll be I think this will be a really nice addition to the LRDG truck that you can get from Tamiya. And I can't remember if they do an LRDG or like a World War II SAS Jeep. I can't remember if they did. But it would be a really good addition to that to make a diorama, an LRDG diorama. Obviously you're going to populate the bed of that truck out with more stores than it would appear that you get with a kit. Nicely weathered as well. Call to arms, out and about. Doesn't say where this is. So time for bugle call. Our 3 intrepid organisers with a helper once again assembled at Nail C School on the Saturday afternoon in readiness for the following morning, unloading and setting out 85 hired tables plus those in the school, setting up signage, and 2.5 hours later we were done, ready for attending 15 traders and 43 clubs. Loving this Henry V figure by Art in miniature. Contributor Craig Spencer was the deserved recipient of Best in Show and uses the RDG Miniatures 230mm products painted with a mix of acrylics and oils. So, updates. Right, Massimo Santa Rosa updates Airfix Classic 1/144 scale, Boeing 727 with modern 3D printed editions from LCI rather. So the kit is from Airfix, it's 1/144 scale. Varies by source according to the price and from Airfix stockists. So it'd be interesting to see what aftermarket 3D printed parts they put on. So we have the 3D printed flaps and slats came moulded closely together and with many supports. To release them, careful work with a razor saw was needed as the parts were brittle and could have snapped easily. I wonder if warming up, because it's resin, I wonder if warming them up in some warmish water, not boiling, but warmish water to just help that process and not have them so brittle. Civil airliners aren't really my thing, but it's nice to see people producing aftermarket parts for some of these older kits. Mr. Sheen. So, for our English bike riders, Gary Radford builds the classic Suzuki RG500 XR27 as ridden by the late Barry Sheen in 1978. Barry Sheen being one of our top motorcyclists, I think, around that time. Team Heron, Barry Sheen, 1978. It's from Italeri. It's in 1/9 scale. £69.99. You can get it from hobbycode.net. Yeah, nice. And there's a certain charm, I think, about the older race bikes. Being a relatively old kit, the runner attachment points can be rather cumbersome in places, requiring greater care when removing the parts. So here, for example, First version of this Suzuki RG500 kit was released by the Italian company Protar back in 1981. Initial impressions on opening the box are that it has stood the test of time well. There is evidence of flash on several parts, while one or two runner attachment points are a touch on the large side, to say the least, but there is no mould slip evident on any of the 232 parts. I mean, this is going to build up into a big model at 1/9 scale. There's your bike frame. Engine going in. Nice little call out for how to weather your exhausts. And yeah, nice bike. Right, so here's the first of our builds for the Airfix lifeboats, and this one's the 7 class lifeboat, and this retails at £39.99 from airfix.com in 1/72 scale. I think they released this previously as a gift set, so you got the paints in the sets, or it as well as just a blank, as just a model on its own. But I do want to get this and the Shannon class this year to paint, to build and paint. But the engineering, where I live in Bournemouth, Poole is not that far away, and I think there's a design and build centre there. I know there's an RNLI. I don't want to say factory, but there's an RNLI establishment in Poole, and I think it might be part of the design centre. But these boats, the way, if I remember rightly, this and the Shannon are designed to be self-righting. You know, in the event of them being knocked over by a freak wave, they're designed to be self-righting. And they have a lower deck where a number of survivors can be placed safely. And then we have the little local lifeboat, the Shannon class. So they're doing this as an advanced build, and looks like it says here adding in seat belts. Adding detail started almost immediately, with the Sabelt seat belts being added via strips of masking tape. So Shannon class lifeboat from Airfix, again 1/72 scale. This is $19.99 from airfix.com. So this looks like it's got a 3-piece hull with bracers. So 2 halves and then the back end go on. And that is a really bright orange. I love it. Love it so much. And this is the decal sheet. The base kit supplies markings for 13A1 Jack and Annie Slater, but Airfix has released a separate decal sheet. That's good. That allows any of the current 50 other vessels to be portrayed. That's fantastic. Well done, Airfix. And here we go, rotary sting. Hugh Morgan tackles a classic Cold War helicopter in the shape of LF models, new tool 172 Westland Wasp. I think it was a Wasp that fired on the Santa Fe in the Falklands. Does it say anything here? The Army Scout, which is essentially it's the Army version of this, has skids. I know it's oversimplifying things, but the Army version of the Wasp is called the Scout, and it has skids rather than wheels. And it says here, the Scout remained in service with British forces until 1994, while the Wasp was even longer lived, operating in Malaysia until 2000, although it was replaced in Royal Navy service by the Lynx in 1988. Here we go. The Wasp's most well-known action was at the end of their service lives. During the Falklands conflict, when three examples from HMS Endurance and HMS Plymouth plus Antrim's Wessex engaged and disabled the Argentinian submarine Santa Fe. There you go. But this looks really good. Now, the Scout, the Airfix Scout is sadly showing its age for the type of tooling that it was. And, you know, the fact that there's just not as much detail on it. But looking at this, the detail looks to be phenomenal. We've got tread plate on the engine deck here. When I lived in Brighton, there was I think it was for remembrance, like poppy appeal collecting. But there's a surviving example of a Wasp, and they used to bring it round on a trailer, and they'd have it outside the Tesco's, no, not the Tesco's, the Asda in Brighton Marina, collecting. I think it was for the poppy appeal. Anybody else remember that? Let me know in the comments. So it looks like they're adding in some extra refinement here for the rotor heads by bending it says the rotor head benefits from extra refinement, particularly the forged pitch control arms, which are molded solid in the kit. Okay, so it looks like they might have cut those off and then replaced them with rod bent to shape. They're just saying that the horizontal tail element was reinforced with a small piece of metal rod to reinforce it. Otherwise, it's a flimsy attachment. A couple of torpedoes there. The 3D printed torpedoes were easily enough to separate from their printing supports and neaten. Flotation canisters. So these structures high up just above the cab, but below the rotors, are flotation canisters. Cool. Right, Turkish spooks at 50. Turkey is one of just 3 nations still operating the venerable McDonnell Douglas F4 Phantom. Kev Baxter was fortunate enough to attend the 50th anniversary of the type entering Turkish service. So it looks like we've got an in focus photo article with lots of different angles for these Phantoms in Turkish service. Nice shark's teeth on that one. Ah, just the double page, that's depressing. I was hoping for more. Not going to lie, hoping for more. And then we have a Persian Phantom here. Now this is a Academy 148 F4C Phantom as an Islamic Republic of Iran Air Force F4D airframe, and it's £54.99 from backman.co.uk. Says here, Academy's 8-part Martin Baker ejection seats, Martin Baker Mark 7 ejection seats, are acceptable, but it was decided to use alternative resin versions from Aries, as these featured much finer detail. I do like this tricolour desert camouflage scheme of sand, mid-brown and a dark green. Cool. Right, books on the shelf. Here we go. We got a Warpaint 144 Milmy 4 Hound, which is a Russian helicopter. We have the F-104 Starfighter by David Boyle. So this Milmy 4 Hound book is £20. This 104 Starfighter is $22.99. Q-Birds, American Manned Aircraft as Drones. Okay, so that's $34.95. Frederick A. Johnson. Vought F7U3 Cutlass by Tommy H. Thomason and Alfred C. Casby, $39.95. Aircraft of the Royal Navy since 1908. David Hobbs, it's £50. Son of a Sherman, double volume reference package. So there's 2 volumes here. And it's 50. Oh, okay. No, it's £250. Get it right. 942 pages by Pat Stansel. Son of a Sherman, Volume 1, 2-book set. The Sherman Design and Development. That's a lot of money. £250. Not gonna lie. Okay, kits. Aircraft. We have a Block MB210 Early from Azure, 172 scale, €39. From.com, so that's FRROM. F-15 DJ Eagle Aggressor Digital Camouflage. It's Hasegawa 172 scale, $44.99 from Angmering. Returns to, Japanese Air Self-Defense Force, 2-seater. RDAF. What's RDAF? RDAF. F-16B, pressed to test Vikings. It's kinetic scales and manufacturers, 148 scales, $29.99 from luckymodel.com. I'm just trying to see what RDAF stands for, and I can't pick it out. Royal Danish Air Force. There you go. Right, Mirage 2000B 172 scale from Modelsvit, €44.10 from modelsvit-eshop.com. A HU-16BD from Sova M 172 scale. It's €57.60 from modelsvit-eshop.com. P51D Mustang Airfix, scale 124 scale. So this is going to be their older kit. It's listed as a vintage classic there. £69.99 from airfix.com. We also have HS BAE 748 SRS 2B. It's 1/144 scale, Mark 1 models. €24.29 from eshop.miniwing.cz. A Junkers Larsen JL6 military service. Mini art scale, 148 scale, it's £52.99 from creativemodels.com. Having already released its freshly tooled 148 Junkers F13 last year, Mini Art has now adapted the parts to replicate the US built version. Although allegedly just 8 airframes were built, Mini Art's first attempt at the type was hugely impressive, and this package is just as enticing. And then we have an F86 F40 Sabre Blue Impulse First Scheme Wingman Hasegawa, 148 scale, £54.99 from amarang.co.uk. Edward's new tool 172 P51D Aces of the 8th. Nice photo etched fret there as well. This is by Edward, 172 scale. It's £22.65 from edward.com. And then we have our armour. So Revell are releasing a 172 scale T72 M1. That's £21.49 from Revell stockists. ICM 135 scale Humvee M109 7A2. It's £37.80 from hanans.co.uk. SDKFZ 234/3 with 2 centimetre Schwebel Lafette 38. I've probably murdered that, I do apologise. From Mini Art 135 scale, it's £54.99 from creativemodels.co.uk. A Caro Commando M1340 with 8mm machine guns by IBG, 172 scale, €16.50 from ibg.com.pl. So this is part of the Italian armour range, and it's nice to see, you know, because obviously we get in that scale there's an awful lot of German, British and American vehicles. I kind of feel that we don't get as much Japanese or Italian, and in some cases I sometimes feel that the Soviet armour in 172 scale is also a little bit lacking, but that's nice to see. Then we have a Studebaker US 6U3 from ICM 135 scale, £39.80 from hanans.co.uk. And then US Soldiers with Motorcycles, or should I say with WLA motorcycles, and this is Mini Art 135 scale, £37.99 from creativemodels.co.uk. Civilian vehicles, we have a Valorex from Ask Distribution, scale 135, €23.80 from artscale.eu. A Personwagen Sid 27 Donnerbusch, Das Werk 135 scale, £74.95 from albionhobbies.com. And then we have a Fiat 500. Oh my god, I can remember driving one of those. This is 112 scale from Italeri, £125. When was this released? Because I remember it was a bright, leery green thing, and oh my god, you'd get it up to 60 and it used to just like rattle like it was going to fall apart. Then we have in the water line series. We have Revell releasing a 2-ship kit for Bismarck. One at 1/700 and one at 1/200. 1 to 1/200. So this is going to be £36.99 from Revell stockists. Yeah, that's cool. I think they did something similar. Yeah, they did something similar with Titanic, didn't they? Then we have HMS Iron Duke in 1/600 scale from Airfix, £21.99. This is another one of their vintage classics. Airfix.com. And then we have FFG Project 20380 from Tacom in 1/350th scale. It's £45.99 from Bachman.co.uk. Figures. Airfix Vintage Classic. Guards Band. I'm sure the colour party will turn up at some point. And then we have mini art with British tank crew. These are World War II European Theatre British Army tank crew, comprising 5 figures. That's nice. We also have Modern Cafe Visitor Set 2 mini art 1/35 scale, and then Holiday Makers mini art 1/35 scale. So those are 2 different kits. Decals. We have decals for F-15E Black Panther Drone Killers 1/48 scale, T-33A 718 Squadron Royal New Zealand Air Force, I'm assuming that is, RNAF, in 1/48. Did I see? Yeah. I don't know. This is an odd. Is this a printing error? It says scale, and then it says 48-136. I'm going to assume it's 1/48 scale. A SPAD 510 ERC 571 from Azure, and that's in 1/72 scale. We have F-15QA Ababil QEAF 1/48 scale from Two Bobs. Raphael C30 GK80 and EC330 Lorraine 2021. Shyheart Decal System 1/48 scale. And 79th Armoured Division Part 2 Sherman Mark V tanks star decals in 1/35. So 79th Armoured Division. I'm sure the 79th was the Funnies, Percy Hobart's Funnies. Star Decal's second collection of 79th Armoured Division vehicles focuses on the unit's Sherman Mark V tanks. There are 3 main options plus alternative machine assigned to 43 Royal Tank Regiment, with all Shermans clad in overall olive drab. Just the 3rd scheme has a full 4-view set of profiles. The others have 2 or 3, all of which depends on the amount of reference material available. Guidance is provided on the type of tracks used on each vehicle, these being predominantly steel chevron T5, T54E1 links, although modelers may wish to check references for confirmation. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, 79th Armoured Division. I'm sure they were Sir Percival Hobart's Funnies. And then on the shelf, aftermarket parts, we have German 610-85 spoked wheels, 1 pair. These are for German World War I aircraft. The Euler D2 and Fokker A1, D2, D4, E1 or E3. PZL W3T Sukhoi helicopter kit. So instrument panels. What else we got? We got a K52 trailer with power unit, PE 95, 135 scale. And hangar equipment, volume 4, Imperial service ramp, green strawberry, 172 scale. If you want to replicate the Bay 327 hangar scene on the Death Star from Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope with the captured Millennium Falcon, your task just became easier thanks to Green Strawberry, which has replicated an Imperial service ramp gantry as seen in film footage. So there you go. Flugabauer MG 151/20 drilling, 135 scale. British World War II MC 500-pound bombs, Mark IV. MG15 machine gun magazines in 172 scale, so they're going to be small, don't lose them. Chinook HC1 cargo seats by Edward, 172 scale. If you're looking to improve on the cargo seats in your Airfix 172 scale Chinook, then these pre-painted photo etched metal items from Edward may be worth considering. And then Chinook HC1 cargo seat belts, also from Edward for 172 scale. And then Chinook HC1, this looks like the flight deck. So Airfix's 172 Chinook gets an Edward makeover with this 2-fret set. The cockpit is the main recipient with a new multi-part instrument panel plus 4-point seat belts. So there you go. Nice. And then we're into our final bits of advertising and then show dates, which I will do the usual photograph for. Right. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you will join me in the next video. All right, take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.